Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the Euro Roundup where you pick our winners and losers from the game week just past. Joining me as always, it's Patrick Van Sauce. How was your weekend?
It's all right. It's fine. How was yours?
We'll take that. All right means you must have had a pretty good one.
No, I was really tired actually. I had a really week last week, so I just spent some time with my wife.
Nice. No rock climbing because you like rock climbing. There's something you didn't know about, Patrick.
I'm ill. My wife's ill. I just sat around. We watched the whole of Unbelievable on Netflix, and I highly recommend it.
Okay, well, there was quite an unorthodox intro, but we're going to roll with it. First winners come from Yellow Fellow. This feels somewhat made up. It's Villarreal. Yes, we're talking about other clubs apart from Bayern, PSG, Juventus, so on and so forth. Real Madrid, Barcelona.
If Dortmund are in this week, I'm going to walk off. I haven't checked, but I bet they are. Anyway, Villarreal make our list courtesy of a 5-1 drubbing of Real Betis. 4 second half goals saw them overcome the South Coast side, who are not having a great start to the season, to be honest. 2 goals from Carl Toko Akambi, 1 from Cazorla, who's absolutely tearing it up right now. Moreno and Chukwueze gave them the victory. Emerson got Betis' consolation. Now, it's been a real turnaround for Villarreal. They were winless through their first 3 games, but now they've got 3 wins in 4, and that puts them up to 8th. And considering they finished just 7 points clear of relegation last season, obviously lost Pablo Fornals, you were a little bit worried about them this campaign, but here just hit on the brake relentlessly. 43% possession, but had 17 shots with 10 on target.
Wow.
By comparison, Betis had 10 shots total, and XG puts them at 3 to 0.7. So while they were perhaps a little bit lucky to get quite so many goals, they're clearly a dominant side in the game. And XG overall says that Villarreal are better than their place in the table currently makes them look. It says they have the best attack in the division and should be top according to expected points. Exciting times, man.
What is it, like 2003? What's going on?
There's so much interesting stuff going on in La Liga at the moment, especially like Granada, like some of the young managers coming up. And Javier Calleja is largely indebted to his forwards for their performances so far this season. 27-year-old Gerard Moreno, who has 6 goals and 1 assist in 7 appearances. And, of course, Santi Cazorla, who, of course, is a central midfielder, but it's really his contribution in attack that's making the difference. 4 goals, 3 assists in 7 appearances. Goal a game at 34 and no legs.
We're blessed. We've been blessed by the footballing gods that they granted him sort of 2 or 3 more years at the top post losing an ankle.
He's so good, man. He's so good. And
really getting me off.
Moreno's at 0.9 expected goals and assists per 90.
Oh, wow.
Santi is at 0.73. He's the best player ever to play football. When he dies, he won't actually die. He'll just be carried off into heaven.
Top 5 chodes that have ever played football.
Oh.
He's the GOAT chode.
Adama Traore.
Shaqiri.
Yeah, Shaqiri is the chodiest.
Let us know your, chody footballers in the comments below to make up the rest of that list. Anyway, this conversation is getting out of hand. Back to the match. Man of the match, like we said. Santi Cazorla, 1 tackle, 2 dribbles, 4 key passes from the centre of midfield. Probably why his expected goals and assists is so high. He is just laying them on for his teammates. 3 shots, 1 goal, 1 assist. Ruben Peña, also very influential in this game. 3 tackles, 1 dribble, 3 key passes, 1 shot, 1 assist. Let's move on to Betis now because it's been a very poor start to the season for them, having won just 2 of their opening 7 matches despite that marquee signing in Nabil Fekir, who was absent in this game. Probably played a part, didn't it? Drew 2, lost 3 as well in that time. They've conceded 5 goals on 2 occasions, the other being to a very conservative Barcelona side. In fact, in total, they've conceded 15 goals in that period. So only Norwich on 16, Monaco also on 16, Mainz again on 16, Paderborn 17, and Watford 20 have conceded more in Europe's top 5 leagues so far. So just shipping goals, and this is a consequence of conceding 15.7 shots per game.
Oh, I dream of Arsenal only conceding 15.7 shots.
Currently on 18. That is how bad Arsenal are
I think
doing
we're on 16, actually, I have,
Although
or maybe we're on 18.
Yeah.
Spurs are on 16, though.
I'm not sure.
Spurs are conceding more shots than this.
I mean, tonight, Kieran Tierney is going to kick Mason Greenwood clean and back into the womb.
Kolasinac will definitely start, won't he?
Yeah, I know. It's going to be so disappointing when Kolasinac does start. Anyway, back to Real Betis. Tangents.com in this section. Only Levante in La Liga are conceding more shots on their goal with 17.8. But it's somewhat of a new look backline for Real Betis.
Okay.
They're taking a bit of time to gel. I mean, that's being generous. So Joel Robles is starting in goal now, despite being kind of second or even third choice in 17, 18, 18, 19. They've got a new right back in Emerson, who was signed from Barcelona in the summer. They've got a new left back in Alfonso Pedreza, who's actually on loan from Villarreal in La Liga. You're allowed to play against your parent club. Although, I mean, that is a very small, distant silver lining because expected points has them down as the 16th best side, so they deserve to be in the lower echelons of Spanish football. Villarreal, though, could they be the surprise contenders for Champions League football this season? Because it's always one wild card, isn't it? It was Valencia last season. Could it be Villarreal this season? Who the bloody hell knows? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Before we move on then, if you're not a member of the FD squad and you'd like to be, then click subscribe as displayed on screen now and remember to turn notifications on to never miss another ERU. Let's move on.
Our first loser of the week at AC Milan. This comes from @clearlyclaro. What happened to the Rossoneri?
La Viola violated them at the San Siro, no less, condemning AC Milan to their third consecutive Serie A defeat with a comfortable 3-1 victory. Eric Pulgar opening proceedings with an early penalty. He's been great at the start of the season, hasn't he? The defensive midfielder on fine goal-scoring form. And then the hosts were reduced to 10 men, just to make matters worse, when Musacchio was sent off for a foul on Franck Ribéry in the second half. Then Gaetano Castrovilli made it 2-0 soon after, before Federico Chiesa's penalty was saved by Donnarumma. Ribéry securing his side's first away victory of the season with their third goal before Leao got a consolation for the home side. Now Milan have dropped down to 16th subsequently after this game, and Marco Giampaolo under huge pressure already to keep his job. The former Sampdoria boss, known for his rotation policy, but already seems out of ideas in the opening exchanges of this season, naming an unchanged lineup for the first time since 17-18. Now, the defeat means the San Siro side have lost 4 of their first 6 games for the first time since 1939 on the domestic scene. And the scoreline, pretty fair to be honest. Milan did edge possession with 55%, but the visitors had more shot with 16 in total and 7 on target. The home side managed just 11, placing only 3 on target, which is a really paltry return if you're at home, isn't it? The Tuscan side deserving the margin of the win with an expected goals of 3 to Milan's 0.6. Really haunting stuff. Gattuso seemingly doing the Lord's work there last term because it's just not got any better for them, has it?
Yeah, they're a bit of a mess at the moment, whereas Fiorentina continue to go from strength to strength. They're unbeaten in 4 and some very good performances all round. I mean, Chiesa, yes, he had a penalty saved, but he got an assist. He had 6 shots, completed 5 dribbles. And Ribéry up to 2 goals and an assist in 6 games. In this game, 3 shots, 3 dribbles, and that goal actually got a standing ovation from the home fans when he was subbed off.
Still got it,
end.
baby.
So pretty good from him. And as you were saying, Eric Pulgar, a great start to the season. Obviously, for a while, he's been one of the most underrated defensive midfielders, but he's extremely reliable from the penalty spot as well. He scored 8 out of 8 penalties in 2019. That's the most of any midfielder in Europe's top 5 leagues.
8 in 2019 alone.
Yeah, and he's got 94% pass accuracy in this game. 2 key passes, 4 shots, and that goal. Pretty amazing stuff. Whereas for Milan, that cutting edge just wasn't there. Piontek didn't test Dragowski once. He made 9 passes, had 1 touch in the opposition box. They just could not find him. And Benacer was probably whatever the opposite of man of the match is. Was dribbled past 3 times, got that booking early on, gave away 2 penalties. He's actually the first player to concede 2 penalties in a Serie A match since Angelo Ogbonna in 2013. But there's one positive, which is Rafael Leao. Rafael Leao in this game looked like exactly what they hoped they were getting. 2 key passes, an amazing goal, 8 touches in the opposition box, which is a lot, and 6 dribbles, which was a match high. And bear in mind, is he 20 yet? Yeah, I think he's just 20. He's an incredible player and looks like he's going to be a steal for Milan. Anyway, they've got a trip to Genoa next Saturday, while 9th place Fiorentina host Udinese the following day. Who do you think will finish higher? Let us know in the comments below.
At Amar909 is taking us to the Bundesliga now for our final winner, where there was no home victors this match week. Weird. Schalke, though, did prevail away from home.
Yeah, they were playing RB Leipzig and somehow ran out 3-1 victors. It's actually Leipzig's first loss under Julian Nagelsmann. They got 4 wins, 1 draw, and this loss so far. So they won't be panicking just yet, but this was a pretty deserved result, I think. I mean, under David Wagner, Schalke have been on their way back up. They've got 4 wins and 1 loss from the first 5 Bundesliga games, compared to 5 straight losses last season. And though Leipzig dominated the match, they had 2/3 of possession, completed almost twice as many passes with over 600 to Schalke's 340, had a higher pass accuracy, took more shots overall. Schalke had more shots on target. And when you look at the quality of those shots, expected goals really tells the story. Because Leipzig had 1.3 XG and Schalke had 2.7.
Okay.
So they were giving up big chances in this game, and it's not something they've really done so far. But anyway, compact defence and fast counters really worked nicely for the Königsblauen. They've actually only had 46% possession on average all season long, but they've still scored the joint 4th most goals in the league so far. Now, the real star has been the 22-year-old Moroccan Amin Harit, who got on the score sheet again, this time from the penalty spot. He's been involved in 3 goals in his last 2 Bundesliga games, 2 goals and an assist. That's as many as in his previous 34 games combined, a whole season. Unbelievable stuff. He's now got 4 goals, 2 assists after 6 matches. I don't think that's going to continue because it is not backed up by the numbers, but it means they've bought themselves some time for everything to click under the new boss, right? They've obviously got some safety there. Anyway, other goals from Salif Sané and a really exciting one from Rabbi Matondo, obviously the Welsh striker who moved to Schalke from Man City's academy. I think that was back in January. He scored his first senior goal for the club, so they'll be tremendously excited about that.
Nice.
He's going to be the fastest kid ever.
Another emerging talent in the Bundesliga. The prodigious talent to look out for. Now, Leipzig should be pretty frustrated with themselves post this game because it means that Bayern have leapfrogged them. They did lead the Bavarians by 2 points going into this fixture. And when you start to chase Bayern, you kind of play into Bayern's hands, don't you? So we'll see how that goes. But we do like Nagelsmann, and we do think it's going to be more competitive this season, unlike this game. Now, this should just be a blip. They've already scored 3+ goals in 3 out of 6 games this season, as they look to be, at least rivals to Dortmund, to the possible, heir to the Bundesliga throne, let's say. Simply didn't take their chances in this game. Timo Werner, who already has 5 this season, including 1 hat-trick, only managed 2 shots, 1 on target, and 0 of them were from inside the box. Poulsen taking a big fat 0 shots, pretty uncharacteristic from him, but Sabitzer carries on his fine individual start to the season, carving out 4 opportunities for himself, but only 1 found the target. Not very prolific, and he has been great from that right-hand side, navigating into the middle at the start of this campaign, hasn't he? Doesn't get any easier for RB Leipzig. They've now got Lyon in the Champions League, and they head to Leverkusen on the domestic front, while Schalke have newly promoted Köln and then Hoffenheim in the league. So marginally easier for them. Who can you see doing real damage in the Bundesliga this season? Will Schalke have another season where they finish second? When was that? A couple of years ago? Who knows at this point? Let us know in the comments below.
Second and final losers of the week are Sampdoria, and this comes from Ahmed El Nouri 6. They've had a horrible start to the year.
Bloody abysmal, my friend, and it continued here with a 3-1 loss at home to a 10-man Inter Milan side, with goals coming from Sensi, Sanchez, got his goal, didn't he? Gagliardini, and a consolation from Yankto. Now, they've won just 1 of their opening 6 games. That was a 1-0 victory against Torino, losing the other 5, leaving them rooted to the bottom of Serie A. Now, only Udinese on 3 have scored fewer than their 4, and no one has conceded more than their 14 goals. Absolutely stinking up the lower echelons of Italian football. Now, expected goals does suggest they've been a little bit unlucky, scoring 3 fewer than the chances that they've created kind of dictate, and conceded 4 more, a swing which would put them around 13th, but it's probably been a little bit generous. Maybe a drop-off was to be expected after losing 2 influential players in Dennis Pratt and Joachim Andersen for a combined 45 million euros. They only brought in 2 players for over 5 million. not players that I've heard of either, admittedly. Emil Adero, a 20 million euro goalkeeper from Juve, and Yankto scored, obviously, 14 million euros from Udinese. Now, the 23-year-old was a little bit of a surprise pickup because he failed to contribute to a goal in around 1,000 minutes last term. So a lot of faith put in him considering the fee. And Sampdoria's new manager, Eusebio Di Francesco, just can't catch a break on the domestic scene at the moment. Obviously didn't fare very well at the end of his tenure at Roma, and is under massive pressure already to turn it around. Their next game against Hellas Verona next week is looking vital for their season. Anything to add to this game?
Well, I mean, Antonio Conte must be delighted, you'd have thought, right? You know, his team go down to 10 men and somehow they still absolutely dominate the match. 55% possession, limited Samp to just 2 shots on target from their 20 attempts, while getting 7 of their own 15 shots on target.
Nice.
And by the way, Alexis was sent off for diving in this match, got a second yellow just after half time. So they did have quite a long way to go in the match. XG puts them at 2.2 to 1.3. It's actually the second time in a week that they've conceded a decent number of expected goals. They also gave up some chances against Lazio. So they do look like they have holes, you know, that you can feasibly get at them through. But on the other hand, it is just the 3rd time in 6 games they've conceded over 0.5 expected goals against. So it feels like when you get through them a lot, but the majority of sides just cannot make any headway whatsoever. They've conceded just 2 so far this campaign. That's 2 fewer than the next best in Europe's top 5 leagues. After them come Wolfsburg, PSG, Stade Rennes, Lazio, Atleti, and they're currently 2 points clear at the top of Serie A.
Barella's also an absolute baller, by the way.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, but I mean, who cares about Barella when Brozovic is there? Brozovic, 89% pass hack, 9 tackles and interceptions, 1 dribble, 1 key pass, 2 shots. Sensi, 4 tackles and interceptions, 2 key passes, 3 shots, a goal, an assist. He has 3 goals and 2 assists in 6 games. He's a central midfielder. I mean, admittedly, bit lucky to get given the one in this match. It takes a massive old deflection. And then 20-year-old Alessandro Bastoni on his Inter debut at centre-back. He's meant to be a superstar. He's like a kind of FM FIFA real prospect, which is how I know his name. But 3 tackles, 2 aerial duels, 1 dribble, 1 key pass, 1 shot from centre-back.
Cool.
Doesn't seem that testing for Inter, but they will be tested this Wednesday when they go away to Barcelona in the Champions League. We are live streaming that game on Euro Football Daily, so check that out if you like to see 2 quite boring managers competing against each other to see which side can have fewer shots.
Something's got to give.
Or not.
To wrap up proceedings then, Philippe Coutinho, our star of the week, and this comes from Big Butcher Man. Talking about a little man. So, there we go.
Bayern got an away win at Paderborn, largely thanks to the Brazilian. He got a goal and an assist, a really strong start to life in Germany for him. An unbelievable all-round performance, by the way. 5 dribbles, 2 key passes, 5 shots, as well as that goal and assist. Pretty incredible stuff. Anyway, as we mentioned before, when we were talking about Leipzig, the Bavarians are now top of the league by 1 point. That's the first time this season that they've been top of the table.
Yeah, we'll keep this section short and sweet, a little bit like Coutinho. But the 27-year-old Brazilian is having a good time of it under Kovac, and who could begrudge him it after that stint at Barcelona? So 2 goals and 2 assists after 5 Bundesliga appearances, and only 3 of those were starts, in fact. So he's averaging a goal contribution in the league every 71 minutes. And he looks rejuvenated, as the numbers suggest. 3.2 shots per 90, up from around 3, I think, in 18-19, 3.2 key passes, which is over double his return from last season, and 3.2 dribbles. So he's experienced a spike in all of his numbers, you know, because he's actually starting football games. This all culminates in a 1.07 expected goals and assists per 90, only topped by Lewandowski and Alphonso Davies, a surprise entry at the top there in this squad. It's going to be a worrying prospect for Tottenham Hotspur, who face him in the Champions League, like you've said. That's the end of the show. Let's wrap this up with a couple of plugs. 4 teams that the majority of people probably don't care about, but, you know, we're shining a little bit of light on other teams in Europe. So thanks for sticking around for the ride. What else is on Europe Football Daily?
Stat Wars is happening. Stat Wars is always in effect, but it's actually getting quite tense in the office at the moment because everybody looks beatable this season, especially Sonny.
Wow. I mean,
He's
Sonny
worthless.
Possibly finish the season with a big fat nil point?
Yes, he's rubbish.
There needs to be a forfeit for that. Get your forfeits in for Sunny in the comments below. Let's get out of this piece. From 2 shows back to back, I'm tired.